Yo, what's up, guys? What's happening? It is your boy. Welcome to another reaction. Got another one here from MJV Animations. This one is called Extremely Scary Pizza Delivery Horror Story. Now, I've seen a lot of pizza delivery stories, so I don't know if this is going to be one of the ones I've heard already. But we're going to find out. Based on the thumbnail, it's a different animation, obviously, but let's see if the story is the same. Like I said, if you guys want to send me any scary videos to react to, because honestly, the stuff that I watch is it's not really scary at all. Like, I'll let you know if it's scary, but 90, maybe 95% of the time, things that I watch is not scary, to me at least. But everybody has their own definition of scary, right? Damn, my face is all itchy. Anyways, we gonna get to this one. Y'all ready for this? Let go.
I woke up one evening and looked outside my window. The fog was just settling in. It always gets foggy during the winters in our small town. I got freshened up and got ready for work. I worked the night shift at the local pizza center. As I got ready for my shift, my eyes fell upon an old family photo. It always brought a smile to my face. That photo was the last memory I had with my parents before they met with an accident and passed away last year. I got in my car and started driving to work.
Sorry to hear that.
The fog was thick that night, and the smell of burning wood from the local farms around the town settled in the air. I liked it. It reminded me of the late night drives my dad used to take me on when I was a kid. I reached work and met my friend Lizzie as I entered. "The fog has never been so thick," she said. It was a Thursday night, and I didn't expect a lot of deliveries on that night. As I sat waiting for the first order to come in, the local news caught my attention. It spoke of the disappearance of a young man named Elton. That took me by surprise. I knew Elton. He used to be my classmate in college. What could have happened to him, I wondered. This was the second missing person case that had sprung from our town this month. "What's wrong?" Lizzie asked as she saw my face watching the news. I knew him. Elton and I were best friends in college.
What do you mean knew him? You still know him. He ain't dead. Yet. You know, when he does die, then you could say I knew him. But he's still around somewhere.
I replied to her. "Well, I hope they find him," Lizzie said. "Anyway, the first set of deliveries are ready." I picked up the pizzas and started making my way out. "Be careful. The visibility tonight is low," my manager said to me as I walked out the door. I strapped the pizzas to the front seat of the car. I had 2 deliveries to make, and sadly, they were both in complete opposite directions. I sat in the car and looked at the 2 addresses I had to deliver to. The first one I knew, but the second one, I had never been there before. In fact, I never even knew that people lived at that location. "That's strange," I mumbled to myself. I'd grown up in this town and had been living there for 21 years now, and not once have I ever heard of or ever been to a house in that location. That part of town was supposed to be abandoned as far as I could remember. Moreover, the address seemed incomplete. I figured I'd just have to get there and then find the place. I didn't overthink it and started driving. After all, I could not afford to be late. Pizzas need to be delivered hot. With no time, I reached the first location and delivered the first pizza. The old lady who ordered gave me a nice tip. I got back in my car and started heading towards the second location. As I drove down the cold, misty night, a sense of anxiety kicked in. Like, as if I knew something was not right. Something was off.
At that point, that's when you gotta turn around, bro. That's your gut telling you some sus things are about to happen. And you gotta listen. How many times have you heard, listen to your gut, or I should have listened to my gut? Or like in his case, something doesn't feel right. I'm feeling kind of sus, you know? I get that feeling all the time, but I'm a hypocrite because I don't do anything about it. I just stay cautious about the things that I do when I have a bad feeling about them. That makes me a hypocrite, but I don't know. Still though, especially when you're by yourself, so you gotta listen to your gut.
I couldn't figure out what it was. Just a bad feeling. This second location was on the outskirts of our town. As I reached closer, the roads got more and more narrow and rough. After a certain point, There were no streetlights, too. I had to completely rely on the headlights of my rusty old wagon. As I drove through the darkness, the car suddenly started to vibrate until the point where it stalled. I knew I should have changed the battery this week, I thought to myself. My car had stopped,
Oh, God.
and I was in the middle of nowhere. I kept playing around with the battery until it finally started, and boy, was I relieved. I'm not one to get scared easily, but if I'm being honest with myself, it was indeed an eerie night. After driving for a while, I finally saw the house in the distance. It was an old, abandoned mansion, or at least, it looked abandoned. Who could possibly live there? I said to myself. I reached the front of the house, picked up the pizzas, and got out.
Okay, so he said his battery just died, and he turned it on and got there. Did he turn it off again? Because if he did, I don't think that car's turning back on. But then again, you kind of have to, because look at where he's at. They could come up on you. So I don't know. You got something to juggle with there. Let me see. I don't even know what I would do though if I was in his shoes. Because like I said, if he turned off the car, there's a pretty good chance the car's not starting if his battery just died a couple minutes ago. But then again, if he leaves it on, they could come up on him. I'd probably leave it on and like kind of cautiously walk towards the house, but like looking back at my car, you know. And you see how on the outside of the sides of the door, there's like little spaces between the door and the windows. I would stand my back against that and keep an eye on my car and waiting for people to come get the pizza. That'd be my strategy. But let's see what he does.
By this point in time of night, the fog was so thick I had to use my phone's flashlight just to watch my steps. There was not much light around. The whole house was covered in darkness, with the exception of a dim yellow light coming out of a single window. I could hear wild dogs howling in the distance. I approached the front door of this huge dull mansion and rang the bell. Turns out, the bell never rang. It was not in working condition. So I knocked.
Okay.
I heard the sound of wood creaking, along with heavy footsteps approaching the door. As the door opened, I saw a big middle-aged man in front of me. He was pretty well built and had a long beard. His face was covered with small scars. They looked as if he had been scratched. He had a blank look on his face and just stared at me without saying a word. After a few seconds of awkward silence, I cleared my throat and said, "Your pizza, sir?"
The hell?
Yes, food," he replied in a heavy, dull voice. I handed him the pizza and he took it and walked back in, leaving the door open. As he walked in, he threw the pizza box across the table and said, "Wait here." I remember thinking to myself, who would just throw a delicious pizza on the table like that? The action was pretty rugged, like as if he never really wanted the pizza. He walked deeper into the house to get the money for the bill, I assumed.
Yeah, you gotta
With
keep
every
your
step
ass
he took,
outside
the
though.
wooden floor creaked. He walked deeper into the house until I couldn't see him anymore, but I could still hear the sound of his footsteps and the wooden floor creaking with every step.
Yo, okay, I'm assuming he's gonna disappear. So I would have just, if I was a pizza delivery guy, I would have took a couple steps back outside I probably would have gone off the steps. I would have gone down was there steps? I think there was. I would have gone down the steps and just waited there. Keeping a lookout, especially on my car if he left it on, whatever. But yeah, dude, that would have been my steps.
Then it stopped. There was nothing but absolute silence. I stood at the door waiting. The inside of the mansion was worn out.
There's a
A
gate?
few minutes passed and I had not seen or heard anything yet. What's taking him so long? I said out loud. I felt a hard hit on my head from the back, and I just fell into darkness. The next thing I remember is opening my eyes.
I told you, watch your back. Yeah, you don't listen. How can you not be cautious to the places that you go like that, especially if you don't know them? Especially if the dude seems off to you. You gotta keep an eye on in your surroundings. That makes sense? I don't know.
I was on the grounds, inside the mansion. It didn't take me long to realize I'd been knocked out unconscious. Someone knocked me out from behind, I thought. What's happening? I was confused and could still feel pain on the back of my head. As I tried to reach my hand to the back of my head,
Oh,
I
tied.
realized I was tied down. My hands were tied behind my back and my legs were tied together.
Yeah.
What the hell? I whispered. The dim yellow light covered the room. I looked around and saw the pizza on the table. It had not been opened. Suddenly, I heard a husky voice. Ah, you're awake.
Yo, okay, I was just thinking about this. Like, I wanted to deliver pizzas like as an extra job, you know, to make a little extra money. But now looking at these, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I mean, like, it don't even have to be pizza. You delivering anything. Maybe unless it's Amazon. Because I don't know if they track you when you're doing pizza deliveries. But Amazon, they track you. And if you stay in one spot for a while, they're going to go look for your ass. So that you're kind of saved, I guess. You know, if they catch it in time. But like if you're delivering other stuff, especially at night, that's like you literally getting set up for something. Like, I don't know if you guys seen the movie 30 Minutes or Less. It's an old ass movie, kind of funny, where that pizza delivery guy goes literally into a trap, and they basically do what they did to this guy, except they make him rob a bank. But you pretty much go to get fucked up.
And as I looked to my right, I saw the man standing at the end of the hall.
Where?
He slowly walked towards me as his face came into the light.
Hi.
I saw the most wicked smile I had ever seen on his face. Fear kicked in. Why am I chained? Let me go! He put his fingers to his lips and went,
Nah. Nope.
It's time to eat, he said and walked into the other room, which happened to be his kitchen. What? I'm not hungry! Let me go! I shouted. I heard the sounds of rattling plates and spoons from the kitchen.
I would have been like, hey, give me a slice at least.
He walked out with a meat knife in his hands. A chill ran down
you gonna cut that pizza, right?
Knife, and his bland face staring at me. I started to tremble with fear. He came closer and bent towards me and said again, "It's time to eat." And he stabbed the knife into the back of my leg.
Ew.
It was in this very moment I realized what he meant. When he had said, "Ah, yes, food," when he had opened the door for me, he was not talking about the pizza I came to deliver.
Who's talking about yo ass?
I was the food. This demon of a man was a goddamn cannibal, and I was his dinner. I burst out in tears and cried and yelled and begged for him not to kill me. He put his bloody hand against my mouth and shut me up and said, "I'm not gonna kill you. Not yet." Stabbed the knife back into my leg and began cutting. I could not do anything except sit and watch as he cut my flesh.
Bro.
I cried and yelled, but that did not bother him.
Hold up, can't you roll over? Like you see how he's tied up? He's tied with his hands behind his back and his legs together. You could roll over, bro. Like, to not make it that easy for him. You could at least make a little fight. Make him work for it, you know, make him work for your meat. Sounds kind of sus.
It's pain. I never felt anything like it. It was bad, and every second it got worse. As he cut into my leg, I could feel the edge of the cold metal knife touch my bone with every stroke. He cut out a fist-sized piece of the back of my leg, and then stopped. "This should be enough for now," he said. He picked up my flesh and walked into the kitchen.
He actually
I lay there bleeding out and crying in pain.
He actually cut out a piece?
I realized he was not going to kill me in one go. He was going to keep cutting bits of pieces out of my body for days to come until I died.
Yeah.
It was going to be a slow and bloody death. As I lay there crying, he returned after a few minutes with a belt and bandages. He tightened the belt around my thigh in order to prevent me from losing too much blood and wrapped the bandage around my leg. He didn't want to kill me right away. He wanted his meat to stay fresh. As he did that, I kept yelling and talking to him, asking why he was doing this to me, and begged him to let me go. He never said a word back. After he was done, he went back into the kitchen and started cooking my flesh. I could even smell it. He came out after about an hour with food on his plate.
Do you
It
smell
was
good?
flesh from my leg that had just been cooked.
Eey.
He sat on the table and ate meat from my body right in front of me.
Yo, imagine how disturbing that is. Hold on, let me fix my hat. Like literally somebody's eating a piece of you in front of you. I'd be like, yo, do I taste good? What'd you put on me? What kind of seasoning you put on me? You know, I would have been like, hey, let me eat that pizza at least. You know, you gonna need more. Well, I don't really have protein. Whatever, you want me alive longer? Feed me. Not myself though.
Now and then he would look at me and give me the evilest smile while he ate. After he was done, he walked up the stairs and went to sleep as I lay there in excruciating pain.
Like nothing?
My pants were soaking wet because of all the blood on the floor. I looked around the hall, and as I began to become more aware of my surroundings, something caught my eye. It was a watch that had fallen under the chair. I recognized that watch instantly. It was Elton's watch. He didn't just go missing. He was eaten alive and murdered by the same monster. I realized I was not his first victim. He had done this before, to God knows how many poor innocent souls. That would probably explain the scars on his face. Somebody tried to escape and ended up scratching his face in the process. I started to think to myself, I need to do something. I need to find a way to escape. I knew I would barely be able to walk after he cut out flesh from my leg, but I had to try. I tugged on the rope that tied my hands to a ring in the wall. I kept pulling in an attempt to free my hands. I pulled and pulled, and I felt a sudden jolt of intense pain. I had just dislocated my wrist, which only added to the already existing pain in my leg.
Bro.
I cried softly. As I leant forward in disappointment, my hand slipped out of the ropes. My dislocated wrist allowed enough space between my hand and the rope to set my hands free. Although I was in pain, I had a sense of hope now. I gathered the courage and started untying the rope on my legs. I tried to stand up, but the pain was too much. I had to balance myself on one leg. I started limping around the hall as quietly as I could and started searching for my keys and phone. The dumb fool did not even hide it. It was right beside the pizza box on the table.
Is there still some pizza in there, bro? I would have taken a slice. I would have taken the whole box. Fuck that.
Phone and instantly thought, Elton! I bent down and grabbed his watch. As I made my way to the door, I peeked into the kitchen. And what I saw scarred me for life. Glass jars filled with remains of human body parts. Eyes, teeth, blood. I saw pieces of rotten skin all over the kitchen counter. I nearly threw up. I took a step back in horror, and the damn wooden floor. Immediately, I heard footsteps coming from above me. I had woken him up. I heard him walk towards the staircase.
Damn, that dude gotta be a light ass sleeper for that to wake you up. Unless he wasn't asleep. That's crazy. I'm pretty sure I'm a deep sleeper because I just know that wouldn't have woken me up. I don't know how I woke him up. Like I said, unless he wasn't asleep.
I knew I had to get out of there, and fast. I limped my way to the door as fast as I could. I opened the door and stepped out. As I looked back, I saw the cannibal. He was halfway down the stairs already. No! He yelled at me. I made my way to the car as fast as I could.
Hurry up, start
I
it.
opened the door and slammed it shut behind
Start
me
it.
and locked
It's
it.
not gonna start.
As I looked to my left towards the house, he was gone. And just as I began to think I had escaped, he slammed the window to the right of my car and broke it and reached for me. I put the keys in the ignition and turned it, but the car never started.
Told you.
That bloody battery! I yelled. The cannibal reached for the door lock from the inside of the car and pulled it up, thereby unlocking the door. That wicked smile swept across his face again.
So he said he got his phone, right? How have you not called 911? I don't recall him calling 911. Did he get his phone? Bro, my memory's all messed up. Yeah, why hasn't he called 911? This dude obviously don't need the help.
He stepped back to open the car door. I turned the key again and BAM! I heard the engine of my old rusty wagon roar. I hit the gas with my leg that wasn't injured and drove off abruptly. The cannibal fell to the ground with the way I drove off.
Run over
I
him.
could barely see what was ahead.
Go
of me.
back and run over
It was
him.
still dark and foggy outside, but I kept driving full speed ahead. I reached for my phone and tried to switch it on, but it was dead. I kept driving until I found the road.
Damn.
I went straight into town and right to the hospital. That was the first time that night I felt safe. The nurse quickly took me in as she removed the bandage on my leg. I saw the look of terror on her face as she uncovered the wounds. I was given a dose of anesthesia and knocked unconscious as the doctors needed to operate on my leg. When I woke up, it was a bright day. As I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by the doctor, Lizzie, my manager, and the cops. Lizzie smiled at me and said, "It's going to be okay." As I pushed forward in an attempt to see how my leg was doing, I felt absolutely nothing. I pulled off the blanket and started crying after what I saw.
Damn, that
I
sucks.
didn't have half my leg. The doctor said that they could not save the leg and that they had to amputate it. My whole body went numb with the shock. The fact that I would never be able to walk again really sunk in. I gathered myself and explained to the cops what happened. They took my statement and began an investigation right away. They came back later that evening and told me that they found the mansion and all the gross body parts.
But they didn't find the guy.
But they couldn't find the cannibal. He was nowhere to be seen. I was left with a feeling of anger. I cried myself to sleep that night. I couldn't help but pity myself. The next morning, I woke up late to find a pizza with a note resting on top of it. I remember thinking, this must be Lizzie. She must have come in and left me a pizza after her shift. The nurse who was walking by at the moment smiled at me and said, "You had a visitor earlier today while you were asleep. He was happy to see you."
He?
I
Oh,
froze
nah.
with fears, I thought. He? If this wasn't Lizzie, then who?
Your
I
boy.
grabbed the note and it read, "Can't wait to taste you again. Get healthy soon."
Bruh. Hey, this was crazy, bro. I like this one. This one was a good one. My boy said it can't wait to taste you soon. I mean, I kind of figured that they weren't gonna find the guy when they went back, cause I mean, if you're the cannibal, you're thinking, all right, this dude got away. He's going to the hospital and the cops, and then they're gonna come looking for me. That's what you're thinking if you're the cannibal. So he dipped. Oh, that was pretty good. So they never found the dude that was missing earlier? Or, yeah, he probably ate him completely. Yo, that's that. I like this story. This was good. I don't usually say that a lot about animations, but this one was good. Anyways, I don't really have much to say. I'm gonna just end the video real quick. Like always, if you guys have any scary videos that you want me to react to, that you haven't seen me react to, feel free to send them on my Instagram or in the comments. You can put the link. Excuse me. But yeah, I'll try and do another mukbang as well whenever I can. And yeah, I don't know what I mean. Let me know what I should eat. You know, your boy will eat anything. Mostly everything. Alright, well yeah. With that being said, if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.